Greetings. Greetings on behalf of Health Studies Collegium Foundation, and we're talking today about physiology before pharmacology, physiology as in life, and in particular, the power of light. I'm Russ Jaffe. I've had decades working in this area of photobiology. I maintain a fellow status in a number of different organizations. I'm a senior fellow at the Health Studies Collegium Foundation. I am founder and chairman of PERC Integrative Health, ELISA Act Biotechnologies, and RMJ-HRX. I have an internal medicine background and a PhD in biochemistry and general medical sciences. I'm a certified clinical nutritionist, and I'm fairly easily reachable if you want to extend this conversation into any particular direction. So, let's start. Sunlight. Sunlight is essential for life. Some amount of sunlight is essential for life. For example, vitamin D is activated by the ultraviolet UV rays that come through the atmosphere, but only when the cholecalciferol is already present. The vitamin D precursor is cholecalciferol. If that is present and you meet an ultraviolet ray, it will activate the vitamin D. There are other ways of activating vitamin D. Light sets the circadian rhythms. These are the biorhythms. For example, there are 3 different biorhythms, and on what are called supercritical days, when all 3 biorhythms are at their minimum, certain airlines will not let the pilots fly because they make mistakes on those days at an unusual rate. So light sets these circadian rhythms, and if you're under artificial illumination all the time, or most all the time, your circadian rhythms may be off. They may not function in harmony. This relates to your mood, because if you get sunlight or equivalent, and I'm going to recommend at least the equivalent, if not actually getting out in the sun, that boosts your serotonin from tryptophan for energy, for calmness, for optimism, for focus, productivity. Kind of important. Small amounts of ultraviolet light can help with certain autoimmune problems like eczema and psoriasis and vitiligo. And if your eyes get a little bit of ultraviolet, near ultraviolet, not too far ultraviolet, there's less eye strain and better visual comfort. Now, what about what's called SAD, seasonal affective disorder, which is at least 5% of US adults, a little bit more common in women, but it's in lots of people who notice when the days are shorter, when the light of winter rather than summer, how that affects their mood, their neurochemical brain balances or imbalances. I know many people who, if they're in a overcast climate, doesn't have to rain that much, but it's got lots of clouds. They don't see the sun very much. There are people who are very sensitive to a lack of sun. Seasonal affective disorder favors depression, mood dysphoria, whatever you want to call it, the winter blues. There is good news coming, but first, we have to get to the pineal gland. This is called sometimes the soul's seat, deep in the brain, right near the third ventricle. The pineal is very interesting in that it's a small, rather pea-sized neuroendocrine organ that takes tryptophan and through serotonin makes melatonin where and when it's needed. And the melatonin is used very quickly and locally. It doesn't flood the body. The pineal receives retinal information, which means the first cranial nerve, the eye, has many levels, which we'll talk a little bit about. And one of them goes directly into the pineal gland. And the ratio of green to blue turns out to be very important in setting the pineal harmony or imbalance. So let's connect that. You see on the right a figure. The retina has many different levels of different kinds of nerves, but there is a specific pineal photoreceptor, but the nerves go directly from the retina to the pineal, and what is important is the ratio of green to blue. You want more green, you want less blue. The intensity is not so important. The proportion or the ratio of green to blue is important. We'll get into why this has practical, physiological, clinical significance in a moment. So these pineal gland activities, this deep brain third eye, exists in fishes and amphibians and reptiles and birds and in people. And when the pineal gland is functioning properly, then the pituitary knows what to send as signals to the rest of the body. But if the pineal doesn't tell the pituitary correctly, or is under functioning for a variety of reasons, too much bad and too little good among them. If the pineal doesn't tell the pituitary what to release, to tell the endocrine organs of the body what to produce, the whole system doesn't work very well. Now, green light's on the horizon. Green light is being used to enhance nutrient and drug delivery. It's being used to improve certain contact lens hydrogels. It's used to avoid the need for catalysts in certain reactions. So there's lots going on with green light, but I want you to know more about why I recommend you become green. Here you see the electromagnetic spectrum. This is what we can see from ultraviolet all the way to infrared. And you notice that about in the middle is the green spectrum. It's not one frequency or two frequencies. It's frequencies from 500 to about 580. That's the green. That's what harmonizes the pineal gland. More green, less blue. There's a venerable history here. Goes back at least to Gautama Buddha, according to Bhante Dharmawara, who was my principal teacher and certainly my guide in regard to color therapy. But Hippocrates talked about how important it was to sunbathe. Avicenna said the same thing. So did Paracelsus. Edwin Babbitt, who was a polymath of the late 19th century, wrote a tome, a very instructive book on the theory of color and light that was updated by Faber-Biren, who made a whole career on the theory of color and light. Then there's Dinsha Jadiali, who has the Spectrochrometry Encyclopedia. And most recently, through the National Institutes of Mental Health, a very important person, Norman Rosenthal, has contributed mightily to the understanding of light and health, and in particular, green light. Now, I would like to hold up a bulb that I hope you can see. Let's see here. This is a dichromatic bulb. This has a black back so that anything reflected back gets absorbed in the black. And while it's not on at the moment, it would be hot in my hand. While it's not on at the moment, you might be able to see a greenish hint. It's certainly an unusual bulb. It's a PAR 38 150 watt dichro, D-I-C-H-R-O, dichro, that produces pure color. It was originally developed for theater, but Bhante Dharmawara figured out how helpful it would be for people to sit in front of this green bulb for 20 minutes twice a day. These are 150 watt PAR 38 green dichro lights. These are not, you have to have a retina. If you have surgically had your retina removed, this effect goes away. Doesn't matter whether you're blind or not. It doesn't have to do with color vision. It has to do with directly the ratio of green to blue that gets to the pineal gland directly from the retina. So then green dichro lights harmonize, calm, and support the pineal gland. They promote restorative sleep, they improve digestion, biological detoxification, and stress hormone management. Your cortisol to DHEA will improve if you sit under the green dichromatic light for 20 minutes twice a day for as short as a month, and then measure in saliva or in plasma the stress hormones, cortisol and DHEA, at 4 different time points, and see if the rhythm and nature of those hormones doesn't improve in harmony. The same is true for adrenaline and serotonin. You can measure those in saliva or urine. You can measure them in plasma. And you will find an improvement in these neurochemicals if you use the green dichromatic light. When I say green, I mean forest-like or emerald green. Green can be used ad lib. You can use it more, but to get a biological effect takes 20 minutes twice a day. More is okay. Less doesn't really help that much. There's something very important about 20-minute cycles. How practical is the use of these lights? You set them up at a distance of about 4 to 6 feet. They should be comfortably warm. They should not be hot. You have them on for about 20 minutes. You can use a timer. You use them twice a day, typically morning and evening. There's no need to look directly into the light. You can have your eyes open or closed. It's the ratio of green to blue that's important, not the intensity, but the ratio. If you would like, you can also practice an abdominal breathing or a relaxation response or meditation. You could set up a salt and soda bath and have the green light shining on you and listen to peaceful music. So green is a balancing color. You do need to use it in a housing because it gets hot. It's 150 watts, but it's unique because it produces the entire green spectrum, not the illusion, not just a few green frequencies. Typically, the base is porcelain. If you're going to leave it on for more than 20 minutes, you would need to have a porcelain base to absorb the heat. And as I said, this is rated for 150 watts, so treat it with respect. Now, there are other dichro lights. Amber, for example. Amber, yellow, going towards the warm side. It stimulates nervous and lymphatic systems to flow. It tones the skin and strengthens muscles just under the skin, the epidermis. This is a youthful process, youthing process. Very often, mild to moderate acne, rosacea, and other skin disturbances calm down when the amber light is used, but for 20 minutes, not longer, not shorter, for 20 minutes, twice daily. For the amber or the blue, use them 20 minutes, not more, not less, twice a day. Now with blue, which is about 410 to 470 nanometers, you can think of it as cooling and comforting. It stimulates the secretion of certain opsonins and secretory IgA and other essential fat-derived molecules that improve the immune system, that improve the skin as a organ, as a barrier. You can shine it on the face, on the back, on the chest, on the abdomen, wherever it's needed. But 20 minutes, not more, not less. If possible, these dichro lights should be the only source of illumination in the area where you are. Now we have additional recommendations. We have a validated HAQ, Health Assessment Questionnaire. We have personal recommendations for supplements and activity and environments, including the dichro light therapy. There's an option for a rotation diet if you wish. But alkaline diet for life, nature's alkaline way, nature's pharmacy. I'm Dr. J. I live this way. I advocate that you test it in the laboratory of your own body, and you will find that an alkaline diet makes life better. Then there's photodynamic therapy. We should talk for a minute about that. It combines light with a photosensitizer. It can be used in certain rather elegant technologies to fight tumors. Bacterial infections are often responsive to this photodynamic therapy that puts in generally ultraviolet light that makes peroxides and other oxidative substances that on the surface can kill harmful bacteria and parasites and other things that shouldn't be there, like fungi. These are generally LED-based therapies and different from what I'm talking about with regard to the green dichro therapy. So photodynamic therapy is LED-based. I'm talking about dichro bulbs and their therapeutic, different activity. In ophthalmology right now, there's a lot of very interesting work going on with photodynamic therapy, especially for wet type macular degeneration. It slows vision loss and damage. It stimulates proliferation of new cells, hopefully healing cells, but it does involve injecting light-sensitive medicine in the back of the eye. So there are certain risks. Then there's photobiomodulation, PBM. Monochromatic application of light works like similar to photosynthesis. The light is absorbed by the cytochrome C oxidase, the cytochrome C aspect of the mitochondria. So there's an increase in mitochondrial energy, therefore an increase in ATP production and a decrease in oxidative stress. That's a good thing to do. For dry AMD, for musculoskeletal pain, for injury and wound healing, this is an option. I am also offering the green dichromatic light. Now, you may have heard about light therapy. That is sitting in front of a light box, typically white, although more recently they have shifted to green. Typically 10,000 lux, full spectrum or cool white fluorescence, and you sit there for 2 or more hours daily for several weeks before you see an effect. Early in the morning seems to work better. If you use it too much, you might develop insomnia. Direct exposure is required. That is, it's sitting in front of a light box for that period of time. Well, today they are shifting towards green, and I would recommend the green dichro as the best green bulb. What about red light low level laser therapy? LLLT, low level laser therapy. It's low light. The light is soaked up by the mitochondria that should energize the skin. It's an anti-aging treatment. It reduces wrinkles and rough skin. It increases the synthesis of collagen. I am a big fan of collagen, having done my doctorate on the cross-links in collagen and elastin. And it seems to have some use in osteoarthritis, tendinitis, and hair loss. Now, what do I, in summary, recommend? An alkalinizing lifestyle program, nature's alkaline way, nature's pharmacy brings healthy balance. That means eating alkalinizing foods and alkaline water, alkaline spring water. Be careful of tap water. It's probably gray water. It probably has unhelpful things in it and a lack of good things in it. Tap water. So alkalinizing foods and alkaline mineral waters, herbal beverages, lots of berries, lots of broths, lots of activity. Turns out walking is an excellent exercise. Walking for 20 or 30 minutes a day, walking for somewhere between 7,500 and 10,000 steps a day, and then check your first morning urine pH. This you can do yourself. I'm going to hold up in a moment the box. This is the box that the pH paper comes in. This is a roll. You can see that I could take a certain amount off the roll, tear it, and then pee directly on it, or use a dry cup, pee into the cup, and dip this strip in. You want to be between 6.5 and 7.5 for pH in the morning. You want to take at least 2 doses of magnesium with choline citrate to maintain health, and extra doses if your pH is below 6.5. For each half pH unit, you increase a dose of magnesium with choline citrate to enhance the uptake of magnesium and to correct the choline deficiency that is rampant. And the citrate is alkalinizing and energizing to the mitochondrial battery. You might want to consider abdominal breathing for 5 minutes twice a day. You might want to consider green light and sunlight while doing abdominal breathing and other mindfulness practices, the green light being 20 minutes twice a day. Now, eat in harmony with your nature and lifestyle. I suggest you eat until you're about half full and then stop for a few minutes to enjoy just digestion for a few minutes. If you want more, go back and eat. But if you're satisfied, enough's enough. Enjoy the process of digestion. What I have for dinner comes out the next morning. 12 to 18 hours turns out to be the healthy digestive transit time. We have a digestive transit time kit that you can use as self-test to determine what your transit time really is. Most Americans have a much longer transit time than is healthy. Healthy is 12 to 18 hours. We suggest eating locally grown, vine-ripened, organic, or biodynamic as much as possible. We belong to a CSA. It happens to be a biodynamic community-supported agriculture CSA. So once a week, we go over and get whatever they have for that week. And we do go to the market, but we also have in my front yard a permaculture biodynamic food forest with over 250 edible plants that grow herbs and berries and fruits and vegetables. And we eat whatever is seasonally available. Make restorative sleep a priority. I've spoken extensively, and you can check online through the YouTube channel, Dr. Russell Jaffe, or through the website, drrusselljaffe.com, so that you can prepare for restorative sleep. And I suggest making restorative sleep a priority will make the whole rest of your life much more pleasant. You want to stretch, you want to work muscles and relax in some proportion. You want a relaxation response or a mindfulness practice or a meditative practice, and that can be done under the green light 20 minutes twice a day. You can include abdominal breathing as part of that relaxation. There are many health promoting self-care activities that you can incorporate easily into your life. If you'll give us 5% of your time, 5%, to invest in yourself, in self-care, you can gain often decades of quality life. That's 72 minutes. If you do the math, 5% of your time is 72 minutes. And if you're willing to devote, spread out through the day, 72 minutes to your self-care, you can do everything that Dr. J recommends in Nature's Pharmacy and Nature's Alkaline Way. And generally, that means knowing through predictive biomarkers and self-assessments where you are, taking corrective action where necessary, but celebrating when you are at your best outcome goal value. So we interpret predictive biomarkers to best outcome goal values, not to some statistical range at all. This is a new paradigm. It personalizes care. It allows us for the first time to say how, in regard to your lifestyle, your epigenetics, which is a fancy word for lifestyle, how your habits of daily living influence the quality of your life. Your habits of daily living, what you eat and drink, think and do, in aggregate, determine 92% of your lifetime health. That's what people who study these things tell us. 92% is lifestyle. 8% is transgenerational and genetic. 92% is epigenetic lifestyle. So I'll start with that. And yes, for a young fellow of my age, I'm functioning at about half my chronological age. My birth certificate tells me how old I am, but how old I feel, how old I function is up to me. So I have chosen over the last 40 years to progressively live into this style of living, this way of living, and I now urge you, through our Joy in Living the Alkaline Way book, or our other books, which are highly valuable, including How to Thrive in the 21st Century, How to Thrive in the 21st Century. And with my colleague Susan Brown and my sister Marcy and my colleague Jayshree Money, we have a book out now on bones, joints, and muscles, how to maintain bone, muscle, joint health for life. Or if necessary, how to remineralize and regrow new bone by stimulating the collagen connective tissue that's necessary from the osteoblastic cells in balance with the worn out collagen being recycled through the osteoclastic cells. So trust us, we are biochemists and we do live this way, so that we do recommend how to build, renew bone. Bone is about the oldest part of you, and it's about 10 years old. Large joints and blood vessels like the aorta turn over, they renew about every 7 years. Your joints renew about every 5 years. So what is called aging is really accumulation of repair deficits known as inflammation, but they're really repair deficits. And they're really opportunities to stimulate repair and renewal. So from your bones to the parts of you that are new from yesterday, We want to have plenty of the essential vitamins and minerals, cofactors, and nutrients. We want to have healthy digestion and a microbiome that thrives. We want to have metabolism, a metabolome that's in communion with that digestive microbiome, so that both the gut brain and the central brain, through the vagus nerve highway, bidirectional. Now, we know this, the vagus nerve comes and goes. So there's much we can do to live healthier, to choose more wisely, to feel and function better today and for the decades to come. Me, personally, I'm inviting you to dance with me when I'm 120, which is some years away, but I want to be dancing. Being alive is a privilege, but being productive, being able to do meaningful work, being able to help where you can and receive help where you need it. That's part of the art of living. It's all included in Nature's Healthland Way and Nature's Pharmacy. And I'm Dr. J, and it's been my privilege to bring you this webinar on light, sunlight, green dichrolite, and how to use it.